we doing, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Anthony Greenfield, and we are back for another episode of Real Thoughts and Conversations. And as always, I got my guest here with me. I got Leon Thomas, and I got my boy Oren down below. How we doing, fellas? How we doing this wonderful Tuesday night?
Everything is good.
Doing good. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me again.
Hey, it's always great because, this world is just out of whack right now. We don't know what's going on, but we're going to talk about today and give you real thoughts and conversations. So the first thing I want to talk about, all right, I want to bring it back to a little bit of the sports world because, the NFL just finished week 4 and we're going into week 5. So if you've seen that the Sunday night game for the Packers and the Cowboys in Dallas, by the way, it ended in a 40-40 tie. And I don't think that should have ended in a tie. We are watching NFL football, not college. College games don't end in ties. Who does that? Why are you not having ties in college, but you're having ties in the NFL? That doesn't make sense.
Speak on it. Tell us why you think.
So I'm gonna make this quick. The NFL answer. Oh my God. So let me tell you why. I don't believe ties should be in the NFL because we're in an age now to where if you have a tie at some point in your schedule and you're playing against a divisional opponent and you're trying to get a playoff spot, that tie is going to hold you back. And now you can't play in the playoffs because you can't win a football game. Now, I guess that would stand for a loss too. But if you get a tie, now it's like, oh, well, we still have that one game over you, but we didn't win or lose that game. So it's like we're kind of sitting in the middle. No, it's either you win or you lose. I don't want to have a tie game and it's like, oh, well, that game decided the Packers get into the playoffs. That doesn't make sense. And I know Jasmine would say that. If Jasmine's listening to this.
I was just thinking about her. Just now when you I was like, I bet you she had. What would Jasmine say?
Yeah. You know what? I probably should have called Jasmine for this episode.
It's all good. We'll get on again.
I digress. But I still don't believe the NFL should have ties if college don't have ties. College literally has rules for overtime, double overtime, triple overtime. Leon,
so you're saying that what you just said was you don't think the NFL should have ties because college doesn't have ties.
Exactly.
So are you saying that's the reason why? Because they don't have ties in college? Is that your only reason why?
That's not my
only reason why. If that's it, I'm not going for it. If that's it, you got to come stronger than that.
Do you see how, though? No matter if they go into 8 overtime, 9 overtime, 10 overtimes, college doesn't have ties. In the NFL, if it's not playoffs, it's 1 overtime. After that, it's a tie.
I get that. I understand that. But I'm talking about the reason that you gave was they don't have it in college, therefore they shouldn't have it they have overtime in college, therefore they should have it in the NFL. That was the reason you gave. And I'm going, that ain't a valid reason because one does it, the other doesn't.
Yeah. Is that what you're standing on?
Bottom line right there.
Okay.
So you're saying because college does, the NFL should. So therefore, the NFL should give their players education. They should pay for college.
Actually, I think you're missing the point of what I'm trying to say. You didn't listen to what I tried to say.
Yes, I did. I heard you say they should do it because college. Oren, did you hear that? Oren, did you hear that?
So look, Anthony, the way you presented it was that because college doesn't, NFL shouldn't. But what Leon is asking, and I guess what we're both trying to understand, and probably the listeners as well, is what is your reason of why you feel as though that the NFL should not? Is it because college doesn't, or is it another substantial reason that allows it to have its own legs to stand on?
All right,
outside of it being college.
Let me say this again. And I know I've said it multiple times. With college being in overtime, hold on, let me start here. With NFL being an overtime, if it's not the playoffs, they only have 1 overtime. If it is the playoffs, they'll have multiple overtimes. But in college, it doesn't matter if it's a preseason game, a regular season game, a college football playoff game, a bowl game, it doesn't matter. They are going to have overtimes multiple. Now, the reason why I say the NFL should do the same thing the college is doing after 2 overtimes, right? You get a certain amount of plays inside your opponent's 20 you have to score.
Okay.
And then after so many overtimes, maybe like 4, I think it's 5 after the 4th overtime, you're only going for 2-point conversions. And whoever doesn't score, they lose. But in the NFL, in regular season, you get a whole drive. And if you score a touchdown, it's over. But if you score a field goal, the other team has a chance to score and then enter the field goal. Then whoever scored a touchdown first or whoever doesn't score wins the game. But if the first overtime is over and the score is still the same, then it's a tie. I'm saying the NFL should extend their games the same way college does. I'm not saying they need education, they need extra college pay. No one's saying that. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is they should take the same rules in college and put in the NFL and see what happens. I don't care if my Patriots game is 6 hours long. I want to see my Patriots play. They may get a little tired, but they're old men. Who cares?
So I want to chime in real quick, and then Leon, I'm throwing it to you because this is you all's arena, right? I'm a basketball guy. So we get it. Your point is in regards to similar to college, it should be rules similar because of college, it should be rules similar in the pros, right?
Yes.
Now, when you started going in just a minute ago in reference to you wouldn't mind watching your Patriots play for 6 hours. Let's look at it from a business perspective, right? So all of those players are employees, as I like to say last week, right? So the business has to preserve their employees, right? Their product, for lack of a better word. I know many may not like my terminology, but I'm saying it purposefully. You know what I mean? So the game cannot continue. Now, mind you, I agree 100%. Shouldn't be any ties. I mean, like what are we doing here? But on the other side of it is we have to see it from through a business lens, right? Or consider to look at it through a business lens. That a lot of the reasons of why they may do it is because I think I just read a little bit about it today. Injuries, right? Anything can happen in that latter end of the game that really affects the next game 2, 3, or 4, or 5, which matters more than an additional overtime 2 or 3. So that could actually be more of the reason of why they did it. But I stand on, and I agree with you, not the college comparison part, but the fact that it definitely not be something that should be a part of anything professional. All things should end in a win or a loss. So somewhere within there should be a breaking point. Throwing it to you, Leon.
Now, first, I'll say this. Just because they do it in college is not a reason that they should do it in the NFL. The two don't go together. Because they do it here, they should do it here. However, I do want to see a winner. I want to see a definite win. Somebody won, somebody lost. So now we can talk about the overtime aspect of it. The policy, the rules, right? The owners voted on it. The owners, these major rule changes, the owners agree to these things. The owners agree, and for whatever reason, the owners agreed to it. So the league can't change it without the owners' approval. My other point is this. When we talk about let's talk about how did the game get to overtime. Let's talk about the extra point that got missed in the middle of the second quarter. Let's talk about the team that had it 4th and 1 and could have gone for the first down. Instead, they punted and got 3 points instead of a possible 6 or 7 later. There are decisions that both teams make during the game that affect what the score is with a minute, 2 minutes, 10 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. So if they want to win the game, win it in the second quarter, win it in the third. Let's not blame the league and the owners because there's no winner. They had 60 minutes to win, and they didn't.
Great point.
But again, I would like to see a winner.
Always.
I would like to see a winner.
Good one, Anthony. You got everybody up in arms.
Now,
You
now,
got
let
us.
me,
You
now,
got us. You got us
Leon,
fired up.
listen, the thing with me and Leon always has to rebuttal whatever I say. Now, let me give him a rebuttal what I got to say, what he says.
Oh, go ahead. Go
Now-
ahead. I'll play
now,
referee.
Leon, let me tell you something. If you want to see a winner, I understand that. I want to see a winner too. That's why I'm so mad about this. But if these teams cannot perform for 60 minutes, have you when you played sports, right? In Parks and Rec in high school, have you ever had your coach
And
scream at
college,
you
baseball,
and college
baseball
and professional?
Yes.
Yeah, and in video games, whatever. Have you ever had your coach scream at you, finish? Don't start weak. You gotta finish strong. That's what the NFL needs to do. Okay, if they play for 60 minutes and let's say the game is tied at 30 after the fourth quarter is over. All right, cool, overtime. Let's see it. But if they're still tied after the first overtime, I want to see a finish. Everybody needs to finish. That's like saying, hey, you know what? High five for trying. You tried to beat this team, but you couldn't do it. They tried to beat you. They couldn't do it. Everybody gets a high five and a handshake. Now we all go home happy because nobody lost.
So hold on. I got a question for you, both of you gentlemen. Is it, because I don't follow football, is this the first, second, or has this been something that's been going on for a while? Is this the first in a long time, or is this something that has happened and is happening continuously in the football NFL?
It's been happening for a while.
Yeah, okay.
It's been happening for as long as I've been alive. It's been happening.
This isn't new.
This is anything new.
It's been around.
I'm a long time away from watching it with any consistency. So
I
mean,
maybe like a few years back when you had a tie game, it's like, well, let me say this. When I was younger and I saw a tie game, I would be like, oh, okay, we tied. So it's not a loss. So I feel good about a tie because we didn't lose. But now that I'm older and I understand football a little bit more, and I know the standings and the players and the business and the actual sports side, because
that's what I was going to say.
I'm a sports management major at Bowie State, so I understand that stuff a little bit more. Now it's like, okay,
well,
so
see, you just said something.
You had a tie. I don't what?
You just said something though. Now that you're older, then you threw in there. I also see it from the from the business perspective. Then that should open your eyes, not to say that they aren't, but that should open your eyes a little bit more to understand what's happening behind the scenes in regards to sometimes how those things happen. Always remember.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Now, you made a point earlier. You made a point earlier saying you want to preserve your players. You want to preserve your employees. Now, if I'm preserving my star players, like like for a Patriots fan, right? This week we played the Panthers. If we went into overtime with the Panthers, which I would be highly, highly upset with, if we went into overtime with the Panthers and it was overtime, right? I would definitely put my backups, my third strings in. If I lose the game, I lose the game. It's cool, whatever. I don't care. But I'm preserving my star players: Drake May, Stephon Diggs, Demario Douglas, Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson. I'm holding them for next week because we play Buffalo the next week in Orchard Park. We're going to Buffalo, New York to play the Bills.
Remember, you're still seeing it. But you're still seeing it through a consumer's eye, not from
hold
ownership
on.
eye.
You want to preserve your employees, right? You want to preserve your high earners. You want to preserve your high performers. Whether what they make, they're still employees. Yeah, I get that. But in a football perspective, if someone is trying to earn a better spot, like let's say if you want to earn a promotion, right?
Owners don't care about that.
Work.
You got to remember,
the owner doesn't care.
I don't care. If I'm an owner, I don't care about that. All of you all work for me. At the end of the day, I interchange you when I see fit. Now, mind you, it may not come directly where you hear it from me. You may hear it through whoever I have in position. But that's what I'm saying. That's the other side of it, that sometimes I think that to the consumer or to the fan, they're not thinking about it through that lens. So that's why
you would replace your star earner if they get tired. You wouldn't keep them in. You would replace your star earner, your top number one earner, if they get tired.
Are you talking about my number one earner or my best player?
That would be the same thing. Your best player and number one earner would be the same thing.
It's not always the same.
Not at all.
People are paid based on past performance.
Always.
Okay. Let's say in a football set, let's say you're a quarterback.
Okay.
Would you change your number one player and your most important player? Let me say that. Would you change out your number one player for someone who's, how I put it in a business perspective, someone who has less work ethic than that person?
But you're saying work ethic, where I think to Leon's point would be this. Let's look at it from this lens. We are paid and we are compensated based on our past performance, not our present always. So just like to the next person in line, once given an opportunity, they may become that go-to person, like we've seen it across the board in any particular sport. I want to see what AJ has to say real quick. Let's read this. Somebody, I'll go ahead. In the college, the
That's my old college professor.
is so great because of the college football playoffs, and when they had the BCS championship at the pro level, I think it. Oh, players. They are contemplating one more. My screen isn't showing me the whole thing. Let's see.
They're contemplating one more game. And with that, they may drop a preseason. Yes, down to this is kind of what you were talking about.
I totally understand. If they drop a preseason game, who cares about the preseason? I just want to, in the preseason stance, I want to see my players make the team.
But he's explaining why the college has the overtime.
Exactly.
He's explaining why the colleges are doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Anderson, thank you for chiming in.
Thank you, sir. Always remember.
Appreciate you, Professor Anderson.
Consumer, fan, owner, business, night and day.
And I'm looking it up right now.
Not to say you're wrong.
And it indicates that the players' union supports the current overtime rules. Now, that's the player. So we've got the owners voted on it. The players' union supports it. But again, me as a fan, Anthony, I agree with you. I want a winner.
Right.
I want a winner.
I
don't like it. I don't like it. All right, that was good. That was good. What else you got, Anthony? Something about DC becoming a state or something? What happened? What did you say?
Curfew.
What's the other one?
Right, the curfew. Talk about DC becoming a state. What? I don't know where he got that from, but I want to talk about the curfews in DC. So let me tell you how this topic came up. So the other day, it was actually on Sunday. On Sunday, I was talking with one of my flag football players, and after the game, we went to go get some food because his mom said it was okay for me to take him home. So I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm hungry, but I don't want to get food just for me and just leave him hungry. So I'm like, you know what? Hey, you want some food? He's like, yeah, sure. Let's get some Chipotle. I said, bet. I will think about some Chipotle. So we were talking about it, and we left RFK. Well, we left RFK in Northeast DC, and we went to Chipotle in Capitol Heights. And in that 2-minute, 3-minute drive from us to go from DC to Maryland, I've seen at least 10 police, like 10, 11 police cars. Okay. And it's all one strip. So I want and what he was talking about is he was talking about the mandate that Trump put in about curfews for minors. And he was saying he was in certain zones and I know I've seen it in Navy Yard and I've seen it all over the news that it's really for minors, but I actually have the article right here.
Because I got something too right here. I want to chime in once you get your point across.
Yeah,
or at least out there for us to.
So what my point was is that do you fully believe that DC should still have curfews for minors? Because it's for people 17 and younger, and they're doing it for safety purposes all around DC in all 4 districts. Now, they did say there are some exceptions, even for people who are not from DC. So, for example, let's say I was a minor.
Name some of those exceptions. Name an exception or 2. That's what I want to hear.
So the exception was if you're not living in DC but you're still a minor, you need to be accompanied by a parent.
Okay.
2, if a minor is in DC and they're out past curfew, which from Sunday to Thursday is 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. the next day, and then Friday at 12:01 a.m. So like Thursday 12 a.m. to Friday 12:01 a.m. And then it will be to 6 a.m. the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And
Give us
then
the exception though. Like you said,
So
if a
what's the
company,
exceptions?
you said so far, if a company buy an adult, because I have one that I wanted to see if you were going to say. Give me one more, and then or either I give
and
one
it
that.
was if they are doing any type of event. They're
Okay.
doing an event, they're accompanied by a guardian, they're doing like an errand for a guardian without a detour or stop. So like if they go to the store and they don't
Okay.
stop for any reason,
Okay.
they're returning from home,
Okay.
they're becoming involved in an emergency. So if they're transporting somebody,
Perfect. Perfect.
they're standing on the sidewalk and doing.
So let's say this. Let's say this because you're closer to it than Leon and I are, right?
Yeah.
What if it's that you have an issue with the fact that a curfew may be put back in place? What is your issue? And then I want to chime in.
So I really don't have an issue with it, and
Okay.
here's why. Hold on. Before you say and make any faces, Leon, let me tell you why. Because I know Leon. Leon likes to make faces.
I want to hear. As long as you don't tell me that Boise, Idaho doesn't have a curfew, there's sure DC does. As long as you don't come with that, I'll take my face away. Go ahead.
No. So here's what I think. I think with people roaming around DC, like I live outside Southeast DC, and like I live outside Benning Road, and I hear crime stories about it all the time. And if I want to walk outside and like I just want to walk outside and be safe and not worried about my car being broken into or me being robbed at gunpoint and having like a police chase outside my house, and I just want to walk out and I just want to walk down the street to the nearest carryout just to get some food.
Okay.
Right. And maybe I see a group of 9, 10, maybe 12 people, and they're all 18 or younger. Now, who knows where they're getting all this action from, all these weapons and things of that nature. But I want DC to be safe. Me personally, I want DC to be safe even in the broad daylight, because I've seen firsthand people get robbed and cars like drive onto lawns, like onto fields in the National Mall in DC in front of the Washington Monument in broad daylight. It was like 3:00 after I played my flag football game over there. And I seen a dude just drinking and driving in broad daylight and almost hitting like a group of civilians.
So let me ask you a question. What purpose is it for anyone under 17 to be out between the hours of 11 and 6?
What purpose?
What purpose would it be for a minor to be out? Now, granted, you've mentioned the exceptions, and you mentioned also that you agree that a curfew would be beneficial, right?
Yeah.
So let's look at this for a second. So we make sure that our viewers understand that whatever angle it is that we're coming from that we support, here's our reason why, right? So you always know, well, you'll get to know more from my end. I always want to make sure that people have a thought that spark.
Have an understanding, right?
Right. So hold on. So what purpose does a child, because you're a child under 17, what purpose do you need to be? I could get into telling some stories about when I was out in my day as a minor after those hours, what I was up to. But needless to say, it's not about me. My point is what is the purpose for any minor to be out after 11 and or 12 or between the hours of 11 and 6? What good is going on? The freaks come out at night, as Houdini used to say back in the day. I think.
Yeah,
what comes out? What happens at that time? What happens at that hour? Nothing good. So
I'm confused.
Child. Go ahead, Leon.
Anthony, do you agree with the curfew or not agree with it?
He said he agrees.
Yes, I agree with the curfew. I think it should stay. I brought this topic up because I want to see where you guys stand with it. I said that I agree with the curfew, and I think it should be in place for all this because I want DC to be safe.
Okay, so let's say this because I'm from Baltimore, right? Mind you, I don't live home anymore, but I'll just say this much. And like I said, give a little bit of insight, but I'm not going to get into my stories. Nothing happens good after those hours, especially if a minor is out, right? So if a minor is out at those hours, there's a lack of parenting, right? It's a parent issue. We're going to go there for a second because your child should be home, right? Unless, and here's an option I thought that you might would mention. Let's say if they're getting off work, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And they're traveling home. I think you touched on that.
I did.
but they're going to be accompanied by a minor unless they drive.
Yeah.
But any time between the hours of, let's just even make it 11, 12, let's just say 12 to 6. What's the purpose of them being out? So not just for your safety, my safety, Leon's safety, us as adult safety, but for their own safety. There's nothing going on for them to need to be out at that hour.
Exactly.
Right. So here's the thing. So like Leon asked, if your point is that you agree that it is, I definitely think it's important. I think a lot of cities in towns should get back to having curfews, especially if they have some crime issues, because it can begin to move the minor, the juvenile out of the way from being subject to either getting into something or falling victim to something. And then you can be able to bring it a little bit more into finding out who is and what exactly is happening during those hours. That's my 2 cents of an opinion, or 22 cents, like I like to say. So, Leon, what is your take? So I think, yes, I agree. I mean, I'm not close to DC as I used to be, but I think DC, Baltimore, Detroit, everything, a whole bunch of places.
Boise, Idaho.
You start naming places.
Yeah,
it don't matter where it is.
Yeah.
You should be home.
Yeah.
You should be home. It's and if the mayor has to implement a law, then the mayor's got to do that. If parents aren't making sure kids are home, then the law has to step in and do that.
Yep.
I do have a question about the DC curfew. Who implemented the DC curfew? Was it the mayor or was it the president of the United States?
So I have it right here. I'll read it. Below is a list of active and past juvenile curfew zones designated by the Metropolitan Police Department. So if I'm reading this as of 2025, it says the Metro Police Department is who implemented it. Now, it could be some people above it, like you just asked and mentioned, but they're who are wanting it to be. So those 10 you saw on the line, it's their superiors that say, be out patrolling, making sure that the streets are safe.
Yeah.
If any city, it doesn't matter. You could go to the smallest township in central Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Kids should be home during those hours, is what I think.
I'll tell you some stories.
Be home.
Now, are there now?
I'll keep it PG.
Statement.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, with that statement, are there any exceptions for you, Leon?
For
are
me,
there any exceptions?
Great question.
I tell you what, you got to have. I will say this: there could be some exceptions, but I'm gonna go hard toward the no side. Here's why: people will always come up with a yeah, but. Right? So, what are you doing out, young man? Oh, I was going over here to pick up a prescription. I was going here to do something for my grandmother. There's always going to be that something because the kids will know what those exceptions are.
That
right?
list will get long.
Right. So now, we can't come up with the full list.
Yeah.
But my response to that will be this. I see a young person out at 1 o'clock in the morning and I say, you're not supposed to be out. What's up? And they say, well, I was going to get medicine for my mother. I was going to get something for my grandmother. Where are the adults in your life? They should be out here going to get the medicine anyway. Where are they?
Yep.
Where are they? Oh, they at work. Now we're going to dig deeper. Really? They at work? Where they work at? Come on, let's go. Right? We don't need to get into all that. Those hours, be home. How about you have to have a permission slip, so to speak, right? That says, well, you have to go to some agency or somebody to say, I have a job. I don't get off until 1 a.m. See, I got my okay to be out card. And it's going to take me a half hour to get home. So I'm good till 1:30. See it's right here on my phone. So something, but no, I don't want to see a list of exceptions either. Have your butt at home.
Was your phone cracked, Leon?
No, my phone
don't get sidetracked.
Phone is not cracked. That's my screensaver.
So,
no, I am not showing you more of my artwork either. Okay, I'm not showing you my drawing.
No, hold on.
I don't want your artwork.
I'm going to answer the question you didn't even ask me, but I'm answering it anyway. Even though if you were going to answer me next, I think the curfew should be in place, and I say no options allowed. No child should be out after those hours. And mind you, I say from experience of having been a child that used to sometimes be out during those hours,
Mm-hmm.
nothing good came from it. I'll just say that much. So, no, have your child in the house. And if your child sneaks out or whatever the case may be, develop consequences for your children so that they understand what actually goes on during those hours that they really don't have much knowledge about unless they're raising themselves and they're out doing something to help take care of the family. And that's
Now,
something that should not be their responsibility.
now, Oren, you did bring up a great point about punishments. When I was just reading, this article a few hours ago, and let me come back here. Hopefully, it's still up. Yep, it's still up. And the punishment for being out during those hours, if a minor is not accompanied, like it's just them, then they will get 25 hours of community service. But if they're out and the adult knows about it, right? Like if I'm out and my dad knows that I'm out, then he would have to pay a $500 fine, or he would get, I believe it was 5 hours of community service. It's not long, but it was like $500 for him. But then I would get 25 hours of community service that I would have to do.
Okay.
Now, do you think that's a fair punishment, or do you think it should be a little bit more oomph into it? If I can say.
So I'm gonna respond off the top. I think hold the parent accountable and not the child, and I'll tell you why. Hold the parent accountable. I want to say forces the parent to have to start parenting, but that's not going to always be true because a lot of parents have yet to learn what it means to be a parent. That's a whole
Mhm.
other show, whole other conversation. But I will say hold the parent accountable, because then that child will have a teachable moment to know and understand that if they were even given permission and allowed to be out, I got to deal with mom or dad having to pay the consequence of me being out, whatever it is. If it's money, if it's whatever the effect is, let it go to them first. I don't know if I would put it on the child. I mean, because at the end of the day, there are things that so to speak, children have as punishments, right? And I froze looking crazy, but as punishments, but does it really bring forth any change or anything? I don't know. I think sometimes when we hold adults accountable for, and I'm just kind of like playing on this a little bit tonight, sometimes missing what it is that is required of them during those years of what do we say? Let's just say anywhere between 11 and 17. Step back up to the plate. Let's figure out how to get things back in motion so these kids, because remember, once you hit 15, 16, probably 14, 15, 16, your decisions that you make during those time really have a lot to do with defining what your future is going to look like. And I don't mean your long-term future, but your short-term future. So sometimes if we say, okay, you know what, let's pull these parents in. I used to teach, run some parenting groups, and some of these conversations would come up, and at times we would hit right on the fact of, grandma, granddad, mom, dad, if we held you accountable for your child's actions, do you think that in turn that would bring forth a difference in your household to have you have some accountability that you would hold to your child or your grandchild? And a lot of them would say yes. They looked at us like we were crazy when we said that, but we asked them that question because we wanted them to understand that your child is still at a place of where they are totally and full dependent upon you for consequences. When somebody else has to come into play, law enforcement or whoever it is, if it's not reinforced, or at least let's say enforced first in the house, why do you think the kids are out here running amok and not following the law? Is because they don't have any laws enforced at home. And this is not for everyone, but I'm just saying if we look at it sometimes by opening it up. So I will say this: little to no options, unless it's for something that could be getting off work, a company being brought home by or leaving. I think you said leaving an event or something of that.
Yeah,
Right,
leaving an activity during that
something
time.
like that. But I'm only going to
No,
say,
not
but
even
no,
that one.
no. But I'll say this. Let's just say this. Let's just say if it was a dance at a school, right? You know how private schools have dance, and the dance doesn't end until
Yeah.
10:30. It could be a half an hour drive, whatever the case may be. I'm saying at the latest, but you're traveling home. If it's 11 o'clock, you're headed home to get home within the next half an hour, nothing past midnight. So, but I like what you said earlier, Leon. So maybe I have to retract that. If you give any options, where is it that those options will grow into? How long will that list get? So
Yeah.
I'll probably have to say no to no to it all off the top.
I say
Yeah,
no, but I agree with Anthony. You agree with the curfew. We
we all
agree
three
on
do.
this. We agree on this topic. Good,
Yes,
good.
sir. Yes, indeed. Good
All
one.
right,
Good one.
all right. Ready? Let's talk
So
about the
what are you over there
secret.
talking about, Leon? You said
Let's
something
talk
about
about
like
the
there's
secret
some kind of
meeting.
secret meeting.
The secret meeting.
You sound,
So
you sound
late
like
last
a
week.
conspiracy theorist.
No, no, this is real.
This
This
is
is
real.
real. Did you guys not? Had you not looked
Okay.
this up?
I
Do you not
watched.
know about this? Late last week, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth
Hmm.
summoned all generals, admirals
Hmm.
in all everybody that's that level in the military from all over the world, regardless of where you were based.
Hmm.
You had to report mandatory meeting to Quantico, Virginia, the Marine Corps base in Quantico. You
Hmm.
had to be there this morning. Again, officers from all over the world, high ranking officers, had to be there.
Hmm.
They were not told the purpose of them getting there, of why they had to attend.
Hmm.
You must be there.
Hmm.
And they didn't tell the media what the big thing was, why
Hmm.
this meeting is going to take place. So I'm watching the news this morning, 8 o'clock, and they go, "You're looking live at Quantico, Virginia." They got a helicopter flying around the base, showing
Hmm.
it on TV. And then they go into this theater where they have all of these admirals, generals, and all these big time people
Hmm.
in the room. They're showing it on camera,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And I'm going, wait a minute. Just yesterday, they said it was secret.
Hmm.
Now they're showing us the room that they're in.
Hmm.
And then they said, coming up soon, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth will address all of these people, and you're
Hmm.
going to see it live right here on television. And I'm going, wait a minute now. 4 days ago, 3 days ago, it was a secret meeting.
Great promotion.
Yesterday, right? Yesterday was a secret meeting,
Hmm.
and now you're letting us see it.
Hmm.
Okay. So I'm going, I got to hear what he's saying.
That's
Okay.
why I said great promotion.
Now, I want to get to what he said. We can talk about that in a minute. Okay. Because
Hmm.
there are two lines of topics here. All
Hmm.
right. Number one, the military has very secure communications that they've been using for years.
Uh-huh.
For the type of information that he presented in that speech, there was no need to bring everybody in for a meeting. That could have been, I can sit down in front of a video, in front of a camera, and tell them the things that he said.
Okay.
Right now, what he said, some of the topics he talked about. Right. Um,
Got them listed. You have them listed.
I do have some of them here. Right.
All right.
Was fitness, appearance, and physical standards.
I like that one.
Okay,
Hmm.
that he wanted he no more fat troops. He mentioned that he doesn't like seeing fat officers walking around the Pentagon. Okay, mandated that there be more physical training.
Hmm.
Right, push for more gender neutral standards
Hmm.
for combat rules. Right,
Hmm.
women have to be able to do the same thing that men can do.
Okay.
Right. He talked about, this one, I think people misunderstand
Hmm.
this. He talked about there's no more woke, no more promoting just because you are a woman, just because you are black
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
a minority. That's a different topic,
Throwing it out the
right?
window.
Right. Well, all right. He talked about being ready, right?
Hmm.
That he talked about some changes in basic training, that
Hmm.
the drill instructors will be more aggressive.
Hmm.
Okay. He talked about the overall culture of the military that he would like to see.
Hmm.
And many of the things that he talked about I can agree with
Mhm.
many of the things.
Mhm.
My point is, if this was so secret on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and Monday, why come live with it? Now, then the president spoke, and I did not listen. I did not
Mhm.
watch that part of it. I had other things going on. Now, please notice that each time I've said the president, I did not say Trump. I did not say the other guy. I refer to
Ah,
him as president.
I appreciate that.
Here's why.
I'll mess
When
with
President Obama was in office,
you.
I did not like it when people just said Obama or
Okay.
that guy or whatever. I said they should show respect for the office,
Always should.
right?
Yep.
I did not like it when people said Michelle. That's
Mhm.
Mrs. Obama. That's the
Mhm.
first lady.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm showing that respect that
Mhm.
I asked others to provide then.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's why I do that.
Mhm.
All right. Again, if it was secret, don't broadcast it, right? The
Okay.
items that he talked about there could have simply been, in fact, it could have been an email.
Okay.
Therefore, here's my theory.
Because I got something.
I think there was a meeting and other meetings that took place before what we saw or
Yeah.
after what we saw.
Yeah.
That's the secret part of it that they're not telling us about. I say there's something big
Okay.
that's about to happen. Why bring them all in to
Okay.
avoid all the secure channels that we have and all this? I think there's something big on the
Mm.
horizon. So
Mm.
there you have it. That's what I have to say about
Mm.
the
You want to go
secret
first,
meeting.
Anthony? Or you want me to
I,
go?
I think I'm gonna let you have this one. I'm still cooking up my response in my
Okay.
head.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you take. I'm gonna let you
Okay.
take
Okay.
this one.
So I like where you're going at with this, Leon. I'll start here. Let's just look at it from, and I was saying it a couple times, and I said it purposely on the front end. I didn't want to continuously say it while you were talking. Great promotion, right? At the end of the day, anytime if we hear a particular word, if we hear the word secret, that's going to have more people tune in to want to know what is the secret. You got to remember, human beings are nosy. They want to know what it is that they normally aren't being allowed to really know. So that was great
Yeah.
promotion. Let's just start there, right? Not even saying that they were choosing to do it that way, but let's say, for instance, that was just to get you tuned in. Now, once they went live, and I agree with you, hands down, there were probably meetings either before and or after that individuals weren't privy to. But if no more than what it was that they broadcasted, they got people to tune in and then they spoke to those different points, that was to plant a seed. That was to begin to get people to think about what it was and see it through the lens of this is a secret, but we're allowing you to hear and or see some of it. I'm just playing a little bit on this, but people know where I'm going, or people don't know where I'm going, but we'll figure it out. What I'm saying is this. Let's think about all of what you mentioned. And I want to ask you again if you could repeat a couple of those, but those are things that we know within our country we have fallen by the waistline,
Mm-hmm.
right? So those are things that we need to step back up in. So I would say that majority of people that if they sat with it and they thought about it, they would agree with those things would be beneficial. Now, if we just backtrack for a second and think about bringing everybody in to have them in one place to have a meeting. First thing came to my mind when we talked about it earlier by text on this being a topic was this is the first thing came to my mind. Let's say it was within a family, right? If we have some issues or challenges going on, or we just have something we want to address. Let's just say, for instance, if more of the adults said, we are going to have a meeting, no matter where you live to whoever has relocated, we need everybody to fly back into mama and daddy house, and we're going to have a meeting there and we're going to address some things of where us as a family have begun to unravel. We have to know that there's going to be something that is going to prompt majority of people to wanting to know, why do I have to travel and how come I can't do it via Zoom or via email? What do I have to be face to face? What does face to face do that Zoom, StreamYard, anything like this, what we're on, what does this not do? It brings us back when we're face to face to that personal part, feel, smell, touch, everything. So to me, I think some of it had to do with that, but also begin to set a tone for people to begin to think about some things from that. That's just me kind of sprinkling a little bit. So that's my take on that. If you can, real quick before Anthony goes, can you name two more of those things that he spoke to? Because I had my list out, but I had went to something else. What are a couple of those things that he mentioned?
I'm pulling up a list, and
Mm-hmm.
just to let everyone know where this is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to say it is a powerfully reliable source,
Okay.
but I did watch
Okay.
the
Yeah.
entire Hexbeth
Yeah.
presentation, so
So we
I can
heard it too.
say that the information that I am providing with you tonight
Yes.
from this source was actually in his speech.
Yeah.
So that I want to, give some documentation. This is straight coming Jason from Chat GPT.
Got it.
Okay.
Got
It
it.
said, formally declared that the era of Department of Defense is over. It's now called the Department of War. We knew that a month ago, but he did say that. Everything that is listed here
Mm-hmm.
is real. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He criticized fat troops,
Okay.
fat
Pause.
generals, and admirals.
Let-
I'm with that. I'm
okay.
with it.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
with it.
Yes.
I have no
Okay.
problem with that.
Got it.
There's no dispute. If you're in the military, you should be in shape.
Hands down.
If you're a police officer,
You
you
should be in
should
shape.
be in shape.
Yep.
Yes.
Done.
Period. Okay. So we
Okay.
all agree. There we go. One.
Mandated more frequent PT, that's physical training,
Okay.
daily physical activity when you're on duty, and stricter height and weight standards. No problem.
Got it.
No
Agreed.
problem. Right? Push for a single gender neutral standard for combat roles.
Let's touch on that. That's the one I was thinking about. What is your take on that? What do you
All
take
right.
from that? What do you guys take from that? Excuse
If I'm a troop, right? I don't care if I'm in war. I don't care if my duty is to wash cars.
me. Okay.
I want people next to me that can do the job.
Period.
Period. I want people next to me that can do the job.
Okay.
Right now,
That speaks volume.
right now, if washing that car means you have to bend down, right, and lean and scrub tires, and you got to be able to scrub 5 minutes on a tire. I don't care if you're male or female, you got to be able to do that. If
Gotta be able
that's
to
the
do it.
requirement for what you're doing.
All right.
Right. You
If
gotta
we're
get the
in a
job done.
war setting, right, you got to be able to hold that whatever they hold. You got to be able to. You got to be able to do it. If
Yeah.
it's running and carry 50 pounds on your back,
I was gonna say, if you got to carry somebody.
you got to carry somebody.
Come on.
I want people next to me that can do it.
Yeah. There we
And
go.
I don't care if it's a man, a woman, or somebody that thinks they are opposite of what God said they are. As
Hmm.
long as they can do the job, I'm okay with it.
Mm.
Okay. But now he said he wants to basically he said he wants this to be gender neutral.
Okay.
Okay, saying that women should be able to pass the male test is what he said. There will be no more female test.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what he said.
Do you gentlemen agree?
There should be one test.
One test.
One
I
test.
I do believe there should be one test, because us having a male and a female test, I think that puts a little bit of leniency
All
on the
right.
female,
It
because
does.
they would have to, because the men, obviously men would have to perform faster, stronger, more endurance, more stamina, more whatever. But then some things may be dialed back for a woman.
Okay.
So if you abolish the female test and you make it the male test now the question is, are you going to see less women in the military now? Are you going to see less, how should I say this? Are you going to see less women like do male things? Because now with that meeting,
we were going so smooth on this one.
We
so
are
smoothly.
We're hitting some great traction. Keep going, young man.
Yeah, I know, right?
He just said male stuff.
It's just
keep going, young man.
It's just you look at it and now it's like, so you're asking a woman to do a man's job, or that's not the way I want to say it. But
let's just say this.
Do you know what I'm trying to say though?
I totally understand what you're saying.
It's not what I want to say, but do you know what I'm trying to say though?
Yes.
No, I
Yes.
don't know what you're trying to say. Go ahead,
Oh,
brother.
of
Keep that
course
hole
Leon does
going.
it,
Go
John.
ahead. Go
It's
ahead.
always Leon, dog.
See, let's think
It's
about it.
every time.
You just spoke to something, and look, as a few people dropped out on that note, right?
That's hilarious.
But you spoke to something that's important that we have to get back to highlighting, but goes back to the meeting, right? Let's go back to the meeting. He was speaking about some things that he didn't. It would almost be like if he said read between the lines, right? For lack of a better word. It's not discrediting anybody, it's not dismissing anybody, but it's going back to saying, listen, if here's a test, this is the test that all are going to take. Who passes it is who we have and who we need and who we want. Who fails it, if it's another try you get, try it again. If not, sorry, maybe there's another profession for you. But at the end of the day, who it is that we want out at the forefront, male or female, is who understands what the job will require and is equipped to do the job. Right? Would you agree, Anthony? To your
I
point,
agree with that.
right? One test, no leniency, no change, and no trying to soften it up and not trying to make it fit. Nope. Here's the test. And that's the thing. If we get back to an understanding, get back to a place of where it was once, when it was, here's what it is that is required to be able to be put out at the front line. Not about it being about male or female. Because remember, you got some amazing women that are in law enforcement. You got some amazing women. So we're not taking anything, making it a gender issue. It's just those that, I mean, let's be real. Some of them are probably in better shape than some guys are. You know what I mean? They're probably not filling up on the donuts as the old school, for law enforcement used to be. But it goes back to saying equipping oneself to do the job. So to me, some of what it was that he mentioned in that meeting, some of what Leon has brought forth for us today, and for our listeners, go and read it, check it out for yourself. But have no issue with it unless the issue is something that you want to address for yourself, by yourself, that in turn puts you in a position to be able to make a difference. That's what I'll say.
Now, I have not served in the military. I was accepted into the Air Force Academy, received an appointment, and another story, should have done it, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think there should be one assessment, 3 assessments. One to get into the military.
Mm-hmm.
You must be able to run, lift, jump, whatever they are.
Yep.
Right? Another one at the end of basic training. You must be able to lift, run, jump, crawl, whatever those things are. And then after that, I think it should be the physical part of it should be based on what your duties are at that time. All right. And to just give a watered down example.
I like where you're going.
If my job is to wash cars, right? And someone else's job is they're going to be the first people to get off the helicopter and start fighting people. They should be well more equipped physically than the car washer is.
Interesting. So not just everybody be equipped to do everybody's job.
Right.
Okay.
Now, however, if the car washer says, I want to go over here to be somebody that comes out the helicopter first,
then he has to go
you
back
got
and
to get
train.
your physical self together. You got to be able to pass that physical test. If you don't, you can't do it. You can't do it.
Now, the car washer in this example, would the car washer have to take the obviously he'll have to take a physical test to hop out the helicopter, but would they have to take that and the basic training test? So they'll have to take 2 tests.
Oh, they're going to take the basic training test before they become a Army car washer. So they're going to take a test to get into the military. They're going to pass the test at the end of basic training. They're going to pass that test too.
And that test would get them to be a car washer.
That's the entry, right? I'm in my example, in my watered down example, right? And if you want to, I want to go be able to do this. Okay, then this is the standard you have to meet if you want that. It's like if you want to become a doctor, you got to have a medical degree.
Yeah.
Right. So you cannot just say I'm going to college, but
right.
I like that.
I want to have a medical degree. Well, I don't feel like going to medical school. All right. Well, then maybe nursing assistant's better for you. Maybe physician's assistant. Maybe nurse practitioner is better for you. Right. But again, if you want to have that front line when we
Mm-hmm.
hit a foreign country. I'm the first one out the plane, and I'm coming to beat people up.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pass the test
That says you are
that says
equipped.
I'm physically able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think it should be.
I like that. I like that.
That's a good example. I
I
like
like
that.
that.
Right?
Not to say I
Got it,
agree
baby.
and not to say I
Got it.
disagree. I think that everybody should be equipped to do every job. But I like what you just I like how you broke that down though. Because I mean that says that who it is that is out at front is prepared, right? Nobody's going to be picked and plucked and put out without having been prepared like that. So to me,
Right.
my end would be prepare everybody. So if I need to pick and pluck and put you, you're ready. But I like that though. That's good. That's different.
Now, in a sports mindset, that sounds like to me next man up. So
That's how yeah.
if one
Mhm.
person if one person is injured on the job or they can't do it, they're not performing well. All
Mm-hmm.
right, so who's ever next up, put
Mm-hmm.
them in there, and
Mm-hmm.
then the cycle just restarts over and over and over again
Mhm.
until the next line of recruits come in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, that sounds like next man up mentality to me, and I agree. So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I took offense to from Hexbeth, though.
Okay.
All right. He said, no longer will folks be promoted because of their race or gender.
Hmm.
And what he said was there will be no more quotas. There will be no more lowering of standards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I those that are in support of diversity,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
have asked for years that a minority who meets the qualifications, not lowering the qualifications. No one's ever said lower the bar. People have said for those that meet the qualifications, give them a chance. And for years, in not only in the military but in business,
Mm-hmm.
there's been the white male
Mm-hmm.
making the decision on who gets the promotion,
Okay.
and the black male, and I'll stick with black versus white. The black man was not given the opportunity because of for whatever reason. But when companies started saying we have a black person up for the promotion, we have a white person up for the promotion, both are equally as qualified.
Mm-hmm.
We want to increase our minority numbers. We want that black person to have the position. Though the bar did not get lowered. And there's this misconception that the bar got lowered to get the black man the jobs. And that's not what we asked for. What we said was so that the white guy that's making the decision has to give the equally qualified black person a chance.
mm-hmm.
That's what's been asked for. Now he's saying no one will be promoted because of race. I want to know what's he says there's no more quotas. So if there's if someone's up to be promoted to general and they both get have the same qualifications, they're only going to
Mm-hmm.
take one.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to decide which of those, the black guy or the white guy, or the white woman and the white guy? How are you going to decide who goes? How's that going to happen? That's I did not like that part of it because he said and consistently insinuated that the bar had been lowered. And the president, one more piece, about 30 seconds.
Take your time.
The president has done the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the airplane tragedy in DC, right?
Mm-hmm.
His first statement was this was because of DEI. His
Okay.
first statement, without
What?
knowing
I
anything,
remember that.
this was because of DEI.
Okay.
And anyone that's an air traffic controller, everybody is up here. You've got to meet the standard.
So are you saying that y'all do not believe at all that a standard has been lowered to meet the quota, so to speak, or to just and I'm gonna play a little bit on this to to no degree.
What I'm saying is
Hmm.
the standard in many cases was not lowered,
Okay.
but the quota was in place,
Okay. So
right?
when individuals, so to speak, aren't, and I know some people hate the air quotes, but aren't giving a chance, what makes one think that they're not giving a chance? Just because they're not hired and the other person is, and the other person looks like the person that's doing the hiring? Well, I always wonder what makes women and or people of color think that it's a race issue versus it just is a choice that they can make and choose to make. Like, I always come back from this angle: what's for you is for you. If
Hmm.
it was that you didn't get hired, then I wasn't for you. Why not
Okay,
just
but
be
that
okay with that?
because that leads into not why the decision wasn't made. That leads into a life practice,
So I'm always coming from a life
right? That
practice
that
standpoint.
but I'm to
I'm
answer
with you. Oh,
your
no, no,
question and
I'm with you.
comment though,
I'm with
right?
you.
That if the the black guy
Hmm.
and the white guy
Hmm.
both same qualifications,
Hmm.
right? Matter of fact, look at the resume. The only thing is different is the names don't even appear. It says black, white,
Okay.
right? The
Okay.
white guy, and this has been documented,
Okay.
they're choosing the person that looks like them.
So you would have to show me, or one would have to show me, or let me hear when they heard someone say, I chose this individual because of the color of their skin.
They're not going to do that.
So
They're
why do you
not
all
they're
so
not
why do
they're
you all
not going to say it
so why do you think it then
because
if they
it's
have never
against the
said it?
law. It's against the law for them to say that. That's discrimination.
So my question is so how come
That's
that's
it.
the thought of individuals
Okay.
that feel like that
What
is what they're
else
saying without saying?
when it continuously happens,
Hmm.
right? And you cannot see another reason for it. And even when you go to that hiring person and say,
Hmm.
why did I not get brought in? Why wasn't it me?
They don't
Right?
owe you an explanation, really.
But if you ask,
Yeah, true.
if you
True.
ask, right? Okay, they don't owe one, but many cases they do. And
Okay.
they talk around it. Oh, if you could get this training, if you could get that training. Well, you know what? Bob got the job without that training. In fact, Bob and I had identical resumes.
Gotcha.
We
Gotcha.
have identical
So
experience.
so those
Why
things
Bob?
so those things lead one to believe that what it is that they're saying without saying it is what they're saying, is what you're saying.
Yes, yes.
Okay. See, I
And
always go back to, I'm not gonna think anything if you didn't say it to me. Doesn't mean that it's a straight across the board that's the right. But like you said, and I think I love the way that you said, I don't want to chop it up. You said it's a lifestyle. What did you say?
yeah,
What was
that's
that?
with your example of what's for me is for me,
Hmm. What
right?
was that term that you used? I love it. It's a
I
life. You said
I
something like
can't
it's a
remember what I said. We'll
but
have to
it's
roll
something
it
in
back.
regards to it's like a lifestyle thing. So that's the thing where I say that to me, I think if more people got to a place of understanding how they saw themselves and not needing to, now mind you, we're having this conversation, it's real thoughts, we're having a conversation, right? So to each his own, we're representing only ourselves in this. But when it comes to that, that's what I always, at the first thing comes to my mind and has always come to my mind. What's for you is for you. I stand there. Now,
And there's yeah, go ahead.
no, I'm just not, that's just me. So I,
Yeah.
I I hardly ever, I cannot think of a time or two as an adult where I felt like something didn't go my way and the reason was because of this or because of that. Right. But I have to look more into it because I know we should literally have a conversation that's based on that right there, because that is the pink elephant in the room that a lot of times gets discussed. But that's why I wanted to ask that question for the purpose of just tonight to get some stuff brewing. Has that, what many think is what the superior feels, has it ever been said? And if it has never been said, then why is it that one thinks it?
Because well, first, again, it hasn't been said because it's illegal to say it.
Okay, so for me, then I would come on the other end
Right?
of it.
It's
Then why think it?
again illegal
Yeah,
against the law
no, I
to
got it.
say.
I got it.
Doesn't mean that they didn't think I'm not going to hire the black guy.
Yes, yes,
Doesn't mean
yes,
that. It means
yes.
they can't
Say it.
say
Yes.
that. It's
So
the
then,
same thing. Same thing happens in banking, in housing.
hmm
They can't say
hmm
your interest rate is higher because you're
hmm
black.
okay,
They can't say that. But there are studies that show
hmm
that has happened,
mm.
right?
Very true.
Now, I have experience in that, in the
Got it.
hotel business,
Got it.
okay? Where there was a general manager's position open, all right? And the company listed you have to have this, and this is our experiences, right? This. I got it. In fact, based on the job opening, the job announcement, I was overqualified for it.
Okay.
Okay, I had way above what was asked for. There were two candidates for the position. A white man was the hiring person, and this was promotion within a company. The other person that applied met the qualifications. So
hmm
we both, in theory, same qualifications.
hmm hmm
Job goes to the other guy.
Okay.
I go to the big boss. Man, I'm really disappointed. I thought I was a shoe-in for this one. I interviewed well, I did this well, and I have more than the experience you wanted. Why did you select him? Well, we just kind of thought it would be a better fit. Fit how?
That was literally where my thought
All
is and
right.
was.
All right. And I go, fit how?
hmm
Well, we just thought he'd be a better fit. In what way? Tell me.
hmm hmm
Tell me. How can I prepare myself to be a better fit next time?
hmm
Tell me. I want to improve. Tell me.
So if I
And,
can,
and, and the answer I got was,
Mhm.
I really can't put a finger on it.
Okay. Okay. So Anthony, I got to ask you, man, and because you're the one that's pretty much hosting this, man. What are your thoughts on this when it comes to like what Leon just mentioned in reference to that part about what the gentleman mentioned that it struck a chord with him? What are your feelings on that as the younger representative tonight?
So as the younger person on the panel, I'm gonna give my thoughts short and concise. If you are able to do it, I need you to do it. I don't care if you're white, you're black, you're Asian, you're Puerto Rican, you're Mexican, you're Russian. It doesn't matter. If you are able to do the job when I ask you to do it, or what is being asked of you, what your responsibilities are for whatever position I'm asking for, if you are qualified for that job, then I am putting you at that position. I'm thinking about it at a standpoint of, Sim, you said earlier, Oren, being an owner. I want to look out for my employees. I don't care if, oh well, that's a black male, and maybe I want to hire him because he's just a black male, just because I can say I have a black male in my staff. Or maybe I want to put an Asian woman on my staff just to say I can have one. No, I want to put people there in that position just to say that they can do the job, and I know they can get it done. I know they have the responsibilities and the duties that they can handle, no matter if it's too much for them. If they finish it quickly, I know they can get it done. I do not care what you look like. I don't care how tall you are. I don't want to say how heavy you are, because in some cases that could be wrong. But I don't care. I don't care what you look like. If I'm asking you to do something, if I'm paying you to do something,
hmm
and you can do it, then I'm putting you forth to do that job.
Okay. All right. So you're
Now,
advocating for, go ahead, Leon.
Anthony, what about, okay, so let's say you have two people that are qualified,
hmm
Yeah.
equally qualified. Matter of fact, their resumes are carbon copies of each other.
hmm
Uh-huh.
How do you decide which of those two you're going to hire or promote?
Please ask me second after this. Go ahead, Anthony.
Okay. I would say, how is this? Who can handle adversity better? If
Mm,
they would,
mm,
if they're pretty much carbon copies of the same person,
I
but
like that.
to the molecular level they aren't the same person. Maybe on their resume they're the same work experience, same whatever. But how can they handle adversity? How can they handle when the job isn't going right? How can they handle when someone isn't there to help them? How can they handle if, let's say, a colleague or a teammate isn't doing their job? Are they gonna crash? Are they gonna, and as the young people say it, as we say it, are they gonna crash out?
Oh, I've been hearing that term a lot. Now I know what it means.
Huh?
he said he knows what that means now. Yeah.
I know what that means now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
you're welcome.
How do you measure? How do you measure how they're going to handle adversity? How do you measure that?
I would probably put them in one scenario. I would put them in a scenario of it's you and one other person on that work day, no matter what you're doing. You and one other person on that work day.
So this would be a part of the interview process.
Yes.
Got it.
This would be a part of the interview process. It's you and one other person on that work day, right? And let's say you finish all of your duties, but your colleague hasn't even started, and you guys clock out in an hour. Okay, what is your next move? Are you going to sit back and let them struggle as you wait that hour out until you leave, or are you going to confront that colleague and ask, "Hey, you haven't started any of your duty. You haven't started any of your responsibilities. Do you need help? Is there anything I can assist you with? Is there anything that I can help you take the load off? Because you don't know what people do, and you don't know what goes through people's minds. But if they handle adversity as, you know what, I know this is a team effort. I know this is whatever. If one person is done, then I gotta help another one, because we're still a business overall.
Okay.
So
I got it.
Okay, could they both give the same answer?
Say if they do, but before no, you're right. But I was two things. Say if they do, but I like the fact that you said no. I got to chime in real quick, guys. What you just spoke to in regards to how they respond under pressure, adversity, right?
Yeah.
What came to my mind as you were talking and answering Leon's question was, how do they rise to the occasion? And qualifications aside, what is the integrity and the character that is within them?
Exactly.
Will be how they respond. Now,
exactly. So the way that they answer that question is how I know who's gonna do it.
Yes.
Because the person that says, you know what, I'm done my job, I'm gonna sit back and wait the hour. That guy, I'm not bringing onto my squad. That
qualified
guy, I'm
or
not
not,
bringing into my
highly qualified or not.
If they're with this example, they're the same.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. If they're highly qualified, well, you're saying depending on how they answer that question would have you to determine if to hire them or not. Which to me goes to Leon's point, or when you spoke about fit. That's the thing. I think sometimes if we go back, and mind you, I understand, Leon, from the angle of where you're coming from, and many are coming from a feeling like it's a race issue. But
give me a chance to continue along that story when you get a chance.
Okay,
right.
okay.
Go ahead.
But I love the fact when you said fit, and I like the fact that what Anthony is saying now in regards to from his angle of how do they respond to adversity? How do they respond under pressure as to be a part of the interview process? Because at the end of the day, qualifications on a piece of paper, all accolades and everything that one has is one thing, but who they are within the fibers of what makes them who they are will be the determining factor of how they respond to adversity. Now, wouldn't we say that would be the truth across the board? But you said like a minute ago, Leon, let's say if they respond the same. I think Anthony had a great point when he said because no two people are the same. They may have similar responses, but there's still going to be something that shows itself to be that if he's the hire, the one that does the hiring, the HR guy, it's going to go to fit according to what he thinks and or sees or feels. The same way you guys are sports guys, we're all the sports guys to a degree. When we look at the pickings, right, that's a big word. When we look at the pickings, look, we read into that. When we look at the pickings when it comes to draft, why is it that certain teams draft certain players? Fit.
But they can explain the fit.
Not always.
My guy could not explain.
If you want to put it in a sports, perspective, some teams may take the best overall player at
Sometimes.
that time.
Yep.
But but I do agree with you. They do choose the best fit and their biggest need at that moment. And going back to Leon's example, somebody who jumps out of a helicopter to fight and a car wash. Mm-hmm. So let's say if I was hiring for the car wash guy, if they're both the same, and maybe it's like, oh, well, I want to talk about how you're going to do if this person doesn't know how to work a sponge. Mm-hmm. I want you, how does this person not know how to clean a tire? If this person doesn't know how to detail a car, how are you gonna do with that? Because you may either be the person that you know everything, you may get the job done like that, or you're gonna be the person that it takes you a minute, it takes you a while, and it gets everybody. Now you're slowing down the whole process because you're taking so long to figure out whatever the job is. You will be both people at some point in your career, and how that and when that person I bring in is how they're gonna the word I'm trying to say, how they're trying to like fit into that is if can they do it and can they endure it? Okay. Are they able to step in and say, you know what, I know I'm gonna be the old guy, I'm gonna be the vet, but then I gotta know that I'm gonna go through the phase of being the new guy and being the new recruit, and I gotta learn the ropes around here. Or they're gonna both stand and say, you know what, I own this place, I know what I'm doing, don't talk to me.
All right.
Wait, Leon.
Let me throw two avenues for this. Number one, when it comes to hiring questions, what y'all are suggesting is that a theoretical question be asked, and therefore you're going to get a theoretical answer.
Okay.
Just because you ask a question in the interview and the person gives the answer you want to hear, that does not mean that's how they're going to perform
in real time. Very true. Very
true.
Okay.
So that we can't make a hiring decision based on a theoretical example question.
Now, my thing to that is I felt like Anthony, and Anthony, I'm not speaking for you, so please correct me if I'm wrong. He was adding that to a part of the hiring process. So if we take resume, we take all qualifications. I hate to use the term a throw in, but let's say that that's a throw in, right? That's like the deal sealer, for lack of a better word. You're 100% right, Leon. Like realistically speaking, it's almost like training. No matter how hard you train, when it's game time, it's night and day.
Different game, right?
It's different game. But still, isn't that still something that if it was a part of his hiring process, I feel like what's wrong with it? It's valid.
The question has to be changed.
Okay.
The question cannot be, tell me what you would do in this in this scenario I'm presenting to you. Tell me what you would do. That's not the question that needs to be asked. The question that needs to be asked is, tell me about a time this happened. How did you handle it? Not the theoreticals of, do you know what to say? That has nothing. And talk to HR experts about this. If y'all not going to accept it from me, what I'm saying is it has to be a question that demonstrates past performance, not that talks about what you would do.
Here's what's so powerful about what you just said and what came to my mind. Let's just say you at your age, stage, experience in life, Anthony at his age, stage, and experience of life. His may have come from, and to his question, if it was that he was in charge of HR at 24, 25, so to speak, would come from, how would you respond? Leon, for you, life lived, tell me about a chance, about a time or two, and how did you respond, right? So he wouldn't know to say to someone, if it's that, let's just say, for instance, at 24, 25, if they had an experience of such, right? So I'm just throwing that in to kind of just say that could be a part of it, right? So a tomato, so to speak, you are 100% correct. That giving an example of how did you respond would definitely be more beneficial, so to speak. But I don't think it dismisses Anthony's point on how would you respond. I find that both of them have.
Here's why I say a behavioral interviewing question And I'm taking your point, Anthony, and embracing it,
Hmm.
but I'm
Uh-huh.
just changing the question slightly, right? Because theory doesn't mean that's what we're going to get. Because we could ask that person, how would you handle? And they're going to tell us a great answer. Again, tell us a great answer. And then they get in that position and the exact scenario comes up and they crash out. You can't go back and say, I asked you about this in the interview. You told me you would do. They're already hired now. That's why a change in the question would help sell the point that you're talking about of the questions that you ask, because it's called behavioral interviewing. We want to know what they've done,
But
not
see,
what they would do,
but see,
what they've done.
I think your years of experience, and that's kind of to my point was, I think that that's where that part comes into play. Years of experience puts a person in a position to have an understanding of, let's just say, how to tweak that question. Where
Hmm.
that's why I'm saying, from Anthony's standpoint, what I hear it is as his question. Both to me have great validity. Yours, hands down, would be like in anything else. How would it be that you responded or reacted in this situation? But if a person is new to it, if a person is unfamiliar with what that means and what that looks like, I don't think it negates and or neglects the fact of what he mentioned as still having some sense of form of validity. So I just want to say I think the two of y'all have made great points, but just from different angles of still it being beneficial to seeing if the individual is a good fit or not. Because what comes to my mind is this: if we kind of look at, let's just say, acting, for lack of a better word, but no, we could even stick with the sports analogy. Fit plays a big deal on the grander scheme, right?
Mhm.
Like you said, it could be at the end of the day. If I want to put, and I wanted to throw that end of the day term away. I just used it too much last week. But I think that sometimes what we forget that is it's a business, right? And whoever it is that's in control of the business or owning the business, they have the final say. Fit is what they are looking for. Now, whatever fit looks like to them, who are we to determine and decide if it's right or if it's wrong? That's the angle I always say I come from, which is why I say what's for you is for you. If it's for you, great. If it's not, and that's why I was going to go in my acting analogy. If a writer has written a script and has created a movie, once they start reaching out to different agents, they're looking at it based upon a fit, a visual look. It could be some of their resume, but it doesn't mean that their qualifications or however many Oscars or however many roles that they had that they knocked out the park, that they want that person. So that's the thing where I think sometimes when we get away from fit and we go into, well, I don't feel like it's fair. Why are we thinking that they're thinking and saying something if they didn't say it? Now, you're 100% right, Leon. They can say it
You
from a
can't say
legality
it.
standpoint. But
Right.
why still, my thing is, why think it despite if they can say
When
it or
when
not?
when there is evidence, right?
Okay.
When there's enough on the table
But
that
to
when
who, through
when
whose lens?
through anybody's lens. Let me continue on
Go
my
ahead.
hiring example.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Eventually, that hiring manager told me that I needed to obtain
Okay.
a certification, an industry certification.
Hmm.
Okay. He says, you get that industry certification, the next time a job like this opens, it's yours.
Uh,
And I said, interesting. Did you read my resume at all? Do you know anything about my background? He goes, yeah, I looked at it. You will see that one of the attachments that I sent you was the certification you just told me to get.
you say he shot himself in the foot.
I got it already.
Yeah,
And he
yeah, yeah,
goes, oh, well,
yeah,
he mumbled around it,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Similar position opens up.
yeah.
I apply.
Okay.
Another person applies, white guy. This is a
Hmm.
white hiring manager.
Okay.
Go through the interview process again. Very similar. He gets the job. And I'm going, well, why didn't I get it this time?
Hmm.
Well, you're just not a good this hotel was not a good fit for you.
Hmm.
Tell me details about what fit means.
But
Why not
why do they
here?
have to tell? So, and I love this
No, but
conversation.
you're going
Why do they
away
have to
from
tell
what he
you?
said, though.
No.
You're asking me why. I didn't say he had to.
Okay.
I'm asking. I'm
Okay.
asking.
So
He
if he
don't have to tell me nothing.
okay, because I was gonna
But
say, say if it's
if you say it
hmm
and someone asks, either say I ain't answering
hmm
or tell me what fit means.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do one or the other.
Okay. Okay. That's
Either
valid. That's
say
valid.
I made the decision. Shut up.
That's valid.
And move on. But when you tell me you didn't fit, and I say, why didn't I fit? And they talk around it,
Okay.
that leads you to think fit means you ain't you ain't the look I want.
So to me, I'm always gonna come from the angle, and
Okay.
that's I don't think it's a problem.
Okay. Now,
I understand it through your lens.
so
That feel that
again,
way,
but
but
leading into the example that we talked about with the
with the
military,
military, yeah, yeah, yeah,
that is
yeah.
why
hmm
companies instituted quotas
True. True.
to make sure that 10%, 20%, whatever the percentage was
hmm
of qualified minorities
hmm
were given the chance, because there would be no more they didn't fit and talk around it.
True. True.
They're both qualified.
Yeah.
The boss says we need 10% minority GMs.
hmm
I gotta hire them,
I gotta hire.
right?
So, but that
I got qualified people that I'm hiring, not
okay.
someone who can't do the job.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
See,
Okay.
that's the thing that a lot of folks miss.
Yeah.
I'm
But
not
see,
saying they shouldn't be qualified. I'm saying if they are, give them a chance. Now, one
okay.
more. I think meeting those qualifications and finding people, minorities who are qualified,
hmm
is not a hiring thing.
It
It
isn't.
is a recruiting thing.
Or a requirement thing.
No, well, here's what I mean by recruiting.
hmm
If the company, the organization has
hmm
said, we want to, and let's stick in the hotel business.
hmm
We're a hotel management company. We have 50 hotels.
hmm
We want by the end of the year to have 10% of our general managers black.
hmm
The
Mhm.
recruiters got to go find
hmm
qualified black people.
hmm To meet
To meet that requirement.
and that's why I use
They
the word requirement.
they got to go find them, if that's the
hmm
goal, 10% black managers,
hmm So
right?
but that speaks to
You got to go find them.
but to go back to the gentleman's point. That's why I would say he said what he said is because of what you're speaking about. If it's that this 10-20% has to be, then we have to go find where you're saying they're already there. Hire them if they are qualified, right? But what he's saying is we're doing away with that. So if we go back to, we're going to hire whoever it is that meets the qualifications. To say whoever it is that we hire is who we hire. To move away from, if it happens to be everybody looks white, it just happens to be they look white.
It's not going to be they just
Have no
happen to
issue.
look
No,
white.
I'm just, no,
It's going to be that
what I'm
they
saying is
purposely hired white people is
see,
what's going to
I don't
happen.
see. Well, like you,
That's what's going to happen.
I like your term of what, and I have to go back and watch because I like your term of what you said based upon how it is that I think. I just so stand on the angle of I don't think it's a, and I'm not saying that I don't think that it is what it is that you see and many people see as though I'm ignorant of it. I just say that I think that what's for you is for you. If it's that somebody doesn't want to hire me because of the color of my skin, you did me a favor. Because why would I want to work there if you didn't really want me in the first place? I look at it the same way from this standpoint. Why am I going? Now, mind you, I'm married, so I'm using this as an analogy. Why I keep hollering the girl that don't want you? Go find another one. It's more efficiency. You know what I
But
mean?
I
That's
get
how I look
that.
at it.
I've always heard
Every
that
I
one
always look at it
too.
like that, man.
yeah, I
I don't want
understand that.
nobody that don't want me, man.
But every situation doesn't open itself up to that.
That's what I'm just saying. That's how I look at it.
Every situation doesn't open itself
Yeah,
up to that,
yeah.
though,
I've always looked at
right?
life like that.
If this
I don't want nothing that don't want me.
this guy, two people are up for colonel,
Okay.
and they only gonna select one, and the white guy gets it, and the black guy says, well, what's
Ooh.
for me, for me. If you ain't want me, I ain't want you anyway.
Ooh.
He does not have another fish to go get.
There's always more fish.
Where does that colonel go, the Air Force guy who's got 20 years experience in the Air Force, where's he go become a colonel
He
if he
may
didn't
not
get
be able to
selected?
be a colonel.
But no,
I'm
but
just
my
saying.
point is, I'm commenting on
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
saying
yeah.
there's other fish in the sea. He
I
don't
was
have
using that.
nowhere else to go
I was using it
fishing.
as an analogy to say,
Right.
at the end of the day, what's for you is for you.
Yeah,
If what
I
you want,
understand that.
if what you want doesn't want you, then
Mhm.
go where what wants you.
I understand the
That's
first part
yeah,
of that,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there is nowhere for him to go to
Always
be
somewhere else to go.
wanted.
It
No, there
always is
isn't.
somewhere else to go.
Not
Yes, it
in
is.
a military setting.
But see, that's the
If he's a career military guy,
okay. And
right? He's
we don't want to
career
get too much in because we
military,
can't. Anthony, you can't we can't leave you out on this.
right?
This is your show, man.
He's career military.
hmm
If he doesn't get selected, he doesn't have another military option.
But when you say, I'll say this, and I want to throw it to Anthony, it may not be military for him
But
anymore.
that's what his thing is.
Hey,
This
He
is your
doesn't have
conversation. Leave me out of it.
military
This
options.
is your
Wow, where'd that?
conversation.
I like that
I
microphone,
like
by the
that mic,
way.
man.
Final thoughts.
Final
I
thoughts,
like
right?
that
Because
conversation.
Final thoughts.
hold on, because we spent a great deal of time. We got to make a part 2 of this because you got another topic for us before we close tonight. But I feel where you're coming from. I hear it, and I hear your sentiments on that. We'll as we talked about last week, Anthony, we'll have to agree to disagree on that. But I love it though. I just, like I said, I stand on the end of, and I feel you. I see where you're coming from. I stand on the end. What's for you is for you. Want what wants you. If what you want doesn't want you, then maybe you have to figure out something else. But that's that angle. Now, that's a whole lot that we would have to break down and dissect to be able to see where, because remember, we both are representing two different perspectives in this, right? Doesn't make one's right, one of ours right, and the other one wrong. But it just shows us that the world is different. I like the fact that the angle that you're coming from, Leon, is based on experience, your personal experience. And it's probably many people's experience. My challenge to that, not challenge to challenge you, but my coming alongside what you're saying is and I just had a senior moment. I forgot what I was about to say, but that outside of the qualification part, the fit piece, and then to Anthony's point, to the bringing forth a analogy, an example, excuse me, and then where you tweaked it to say that you want the person to provide an example based upon previous experience. I think at the end of the day, a 24, 25-year-old person such as Anthony, if he's in charge of HR or if he's the person that's doing the hiring, he might would, and like I said, Anthony, you can correct me if I'm wrong, he might would ask the question based upon what would you do? Because of his life experience hasn't had a whole lot behind him. Yours, you have more years behind you. So you might would ask Leon, what did you do? So I don't think that one is right and one is wrong. I think that they would be based upon whoever it is that's doing
Please
the hiring.
don't misunderstand.
No, I'm not.
No, I think
Go ahead.
maybe I didn't present it properly.
No, I got you.
No, I think either I didn't present it properly or it was not understood.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that in interview processes, there are not random questions. When HR people are doing interviews, there are types of interview questions that are asked.
And that through
right
experience.
And one of those types of questions is behavioral interviewing questions.
But Leon,
and so
that through experience. That's so I think,
yes.
And I think what I'm saying, you're missing it. I'm giving Anthony the benefit of the doubt being a 24, 25-year-old, meaning what you're saying is no, but what you're saying is you're right. Not saying that you're wrong, and based upon these are the way that the questions would be structured.
I didn't finish the explanation though. I'm saying that if even Anthony, to take your question, tell me what you would do, right? That question needs to be something that is asked of both candidates. It cannot be.
He didn't say that he wouldn't ask.
No, but I didn't say that he did. I'm just saying if we're going to judge them on that question,
finish, and then or you can go.
If we're going to ask that question,
okay,
and we're going to put some weight into the answer.
Okay.
Both people must be asked the same question. If
And
we're
Anthony,
going to
you were saying
judge
that
them,
both would ask, you would ask both,
if
right?
we're going to judge them on how they respond, they both need to hear the same question. In fact, the same series of questions. If we're going to use the interview for anything,
Hmm.
we got to even keep that fair.
So Anthony, real quick, your question that you presented earlier, right? That scenario, you would have asked that to both people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we already knew that though, Leon. That would be something he would ask to both. He mentioned that they would provide different responses because they're two different people. You said that,
Okay,
right, Anthony?
I heard for the person that I have an interest in, I'm going
No,
to ask
no,
them about a scenario. I thought I
no,
heard that.
no. You're hearing things.
Okay,
See,
well,
that's
you know how we know how we'll be able to find that out.
watch tape
Roll the tape.
because I
We can
didn't hear
roll
that
the
at all.
tape.
You're
We
right,
can
but
roll the tape.
this was good, Anthony. That was a good one, man. That was a really good one. Before we
I,
close, like you say, final. Give us, Leon. You had the one more for us, man. What's the one
all
more?
right.
Or the two
Yeah.
more?
Final
'Cause I
thoughts,
got.
real quick.
I mentioned that diversity hiring is a recruiting thing,
Okay.
right? That it should be if the higher ups have said we need 10% black, we need 10% ladies, recruiters,
Hmm.
HR people got to go find them and bring qualified people,
Okay.
qualified minorities. Again, I've said that 4 or 5 times. I'm not saying lower the bar.
Hmm.
I'm saying when they're even, that
Hmm.
if you got a quota, bring them in. I am concerned now that we're not going to see women and other minorities in
Hmm.
high level military positions because people are going to hire folks that look like them. I am
Hmm.
concerned about that.
And
That's one of the few things out of Hegseth's speech today that
say,
that
you
I
say that
that
10 times.
yeah
That's
that
a
I
tongue
have an
twister.
issue on.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That's my closing thought about it. We'll talk next time about President Trump and his funny math. We'll go into that
I'm
next
about to say.
time.
I'm about to say that would we. I feel like you got a few minutes, man. That'd be a great closer. That's Anthony's call though. But I'm down. I
Well,
got time.
actually, I do want to close out on this. Matter of fact, since I gave Leon his final thoughts, or what are your final thoughts?
In regards to what he mentioned just now.
Yes, and in regard to the whole show, really, there's any topic you want to bring back, you want to say like, you know what, I truly feel this about this topic, and you know what, Leon said something, or Anthony, you said something, and the
Yeah,
floor
yeah.
is yours.
So no, I flushed out, man. I always will say this, man. I get it in. I get in wherever it is that I can fit in. Pause. You know what I mean? But when it comes to that, man, I think that I want to go back to your curfew point, right? I like that.
Mhm.
I like that particular one. And then I like what Leon said in reference to no options, because children and are minors at a certain age, right? We know that 17 and under, and I don't know why I want to look at only between 11 and 17, because to me, anytime you're out, even if you're younger than 11, it's a problem. Meaning
Yeah,
younger than 11 after 11 is a problem. But if you are out and about, we say yeah 11. It would say 11 under 11, 11 out under the. You get what I'm saying. But between 11 and 17. And like I said, something in me wants to share a little bit, but I beg to differ. I choose not to, and based upon some life experience. But I just will say this much for our listeners and for us. And my final thoughts on this: um, there's some old sayings that used to go on back in the day that happen after hours, right? We're a little after hours now, so we can say, back in the day they used to say, "And nothing open but legs after a certain hour." That used to
yeah,
be an old
yeah,
saying, right?
yeah.
So we'll just say, and like I said, I think it's Houdini, if I'm quoting the old group correct. The freaks come out at night, right? So there's a lot of trouble that happens after particular hours. And what is it out for a minor to get into other than trouble at that hour, right? They should
Mhm.
be home sleep, preparing for the next day, especially if it's a school night, right? If it's a Saturday, preparing to go to church the next day, whatever the case may be, but spending time getting their rest because they're still developing. So I wanted to kind of lean into that. Between the ages of 11 and 17, you're still developing, you're still growing. You ought to have gotten whatever you needed to get done during those daytime hours. At night, shut it down, be home. For the young folk, play the game, whatever the case may be, but spend some time meditating, spend some time reviewing your thoughts of whatever your experiences were that particular day, and ask yourself, what do you want to do different the next day? That would be what I would say. So to me, I challenge parents that if it's that your children feel like it's something that is out for them to get involved in, let's just say those 15, 16, and 17-year-old high schoolers, right? That feel like my friends are hanging out, or maybe they hang out with some older kids. Really think about how much of letting your children have older friends, what is it really that they're being exposed to? What are they experiencing after certain hours? Would it be something that if it had a consequence or an effect that you in turn have to then address and deal with, do you really want to have to deal with it? So I challenge parents to look at it from that lens and through that, excuse me, from that angle and through that lens. Get your babies home, bring them in, put them to bed, read them a bedtime story, whatever the case may be, but put some structure in to have them to understand you have a whole life to live of being able to hang out after hours, so to speak. And realistically speaking, and I'll close on this note, Anthony, honestly, as you get older, man, you don't want to be out past 8. You get tired. You want to watch some TV. Tell them, Leon, right? Look, I'm tired at about 7 o'clock. So it's old. It's nothing going on after hours. You have a period of time in your life where you think that you've missed something when you were young that you want to spend time doing. You come to realize after you do it a little bit, you didn't miss anything. And then actually you also see that whoever's out at those hours, what actually is happening. When your eyes get open to that, hopefully there's a moral compass within you that has you to look at life and say, nothing that I want to be a part of, because I want to see my life have progression, right? That should be the angle. So I'll close on that note, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, that was just our closing thoughts on tonight's show. And actually, we are going to have a part 2 to this episode because there was a lot of back and forth for this one. So I think we should come back next Tuesday, and I think you should too. If you want to see the part 2 to this show, come back next Tuesday at 9:30, and you can see more real thoughts and more conversations of things like this. All right? So with that being said, everybody have a blessed night, stay safe, and make sure to go eat some food. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.